Welcome to the site visit for the Pinon Hills Golf Course renovation, where designer Kaye will give you a tour of the site.
This is the typical condition of the asphalt cart paths. We don't know exactly what's underneath, but the oldest plans show a typical 3-inch base. These cart paths are to be removed, and then new concrete cart paths put all over the entire golf course in the same exact corridor that you see now. This lake that number 1 green and number 14 green over there share is not being relined. The only work here is to install a recirculating pump on a little concrete slab. I think it's also got a small cage around it, and that will feed water up to the lake at number 13. The reason we're stopping and looking at this is an example of where contractor, this concrete is staying, and this asphalt would be peeled away, carted off, and new concrete would come up to this. You would tie into this. If this slab is 6 inches thick or more, which it definitely is, you're going to be putting dowels in. If it's less than 6 inches thick, there's no dowels required. This is number 5 green, and as you're golfing, it would be the right side. The idea is to remove all of this sand to shape this bunker into something more of a grassy hollow, and then this would be grassed. It would be irrigated and grassed. So this bunker would be going away, and like all bunkers, this sand and any spoils from here would be transported and carted to the few little areas that we're using dirt to build new features, like number 9T, and then also the practice area by number 10T is expanding. So this is the biggest turf conversion area on the entire project. Okay, what we're looking at here is another example of this concrete cart path is going to be preserved. The contractor is going to come along and remove the asphalt and then tie into this concrete cart path. And then also this curb is typical of what the curb is going to be everywhere else, the new curb, except that this is a little bit bigger. This is 6 by 6. What we have specified on the golf course is 4 by 4, but it's the same style where it's an integral part of the cart path like this. And this has a nice brushed finish. We want that too. This area here is going to be the new number 7 Pro Tee, just 1,100 square feet, something like that, nothing major. And then this area over here, out of service as a tee, and it's going to become a sod nursery. So this would have to be leveled, no dirt moving. It's not that we're going to make the whole thing completely leveled, too much cut and fill, but it needs to be leveled out from what it is now. Any excess dirt would be transported to where it's needed, the closest possible point of being needed. And that's it. This is the pump station. There's not a lot of work here at all. Rainbird, this is a 5-year-old pump station. Rainbird manufacturer and the distributor have already gotten the hardware list together for what's needed to do communications by radio from this panel to the superintendent's shop. The contractor is doing that. The contractor is also providing a 2-pump acid system and nutrient system, but the golf course is providing the tanks. And this pump station is already set up with the outlets for the fertigation and the acid, and there's no modifications needed to the pump station on this project. The last point here is that the only 12-inch pipe connection is right here where we're standing. Then it quickly branches off to 10-inch and 8-inch. This lake really gets no work at all. All it's getting is an Otterbein fountain. There are 3 lakes on the project. Each lake does get an Otterbein fountain. Only one of the lakes that we haven't seen yet on number 13 green is being lined. The power for this will come from either this building or the pump station building right over there. And each of the 3 Otterbein pumps will have its own little pump panel. All of this is to be supplied and installed by the contractor. Okay, this is another look at the typical cart path condition. It's narrow, it's all deteriorated. The contractor is going to remove this cart path and cart off to a city facility stockpile and then replace with concrete. That is the plan A. In this particular location shows that some of the places the contractor will have to trim branches, clear and grub a little bit to get the proper width. It's not a huge clearing and grubbing job, but any such work will be the contractor's responsibility. Okay, this is the new number 9 forward tee. That some of the spoils from any sort of sand removed from the bunkers, desludging the lake at number 13. Various soils can be deposited here, shape up a normal 1,200, 1,300 square foot tee and irrigate it, and that's the scope of work. This is hole number 9, big open fairway. This is a very typical layout for the irrigation. As you can see, it's very wide open here. Okay, this is the practice area right near number 10 tee in the starting area. And this area is just getting regular irrigation, but over here is an area that's already been cleared to a certain extent. You can see it's bare earth. Any excess soils can be deposited there, sand mixed in, leveled off, shaped, irrigated, and grassed to make an expanded practice area here. The exact design we do not know yet. It's probably going to be more of a field decision on exactly the shape and exactly what happens, but the idea is not to go crazy. There's no new bunkers. It's just a grassy area that gets irrigated and leveled. Okay, this is some typical bunkers here. And the idea is we are not reshaping these bunkers at all. We're basically taking the old sand out, the existing drainage, which we do not have as-built for, but the superintendent reports that drainage is not really a big problem with these bunkers throughout the golf course. Any drainage that's encountered, we want what's called a spruce up. If there are herringbone lines, and again, we don't know if there are, the top 2 inches of pea gravel will be removed and replaced. Any bunker that does not have some sort of good sized sump or smile pipe pattern at the bottom to collect water, we do need that. But aside from that, it's not a big drainage job and it's not reshaping. Once the sand is removed and taken to a place where it can be reused, then new sand will be installed along with a typical sand trapper cloth. A portion of the sand trapper cloth should be sand trapper 2 for some of the steeper faces, but that's probably no more than 25% of the golf course. In addition, we do have on the plan some areas where fingers, like you see right here for turf, are irrigated with subsurface drip. The small pond near 13 green. This is probably no more than 12,000, 13,000 square feet. It's the only of the 3 ponds that is going to be lined with a liner. As the designer, I feel that it's small enough to order one piece from the factory so that you don't have to do seaming in the field, but that's contractor's choice. The scope of work here is to remove these reeds to a location that's no more than 500 yards away for composting, to remove the muck in the soil. That soil can be then used for the number 9 tee, the expansion of the practice area as we mentioned before. New liner, new geotextile underneath, new liner on top, textured liner that catches the dirt, and a small amount of dirt on top to keep in place. This is also the lake in which the recirc pump on number 1 pumps to here, and then this gravity feeds over to back down to 1. Okay, once again, this is an example of existing concrete where the contractor is going to tie in. If it's 6 inches thick, which I'm sure these ones are, it will be dowels. Anything less than 6 inches thick, no dowels. One of the reasons I wanted to highlight this area is that we have this existing plug. We have a Toro Smart Hub on the Toro plan nearby, and it would tie into something like this. We're not adding electrical panels, we're not hiring electricians unless absolutely necessary. And so the contractor, for something that's a simple tie-in, would use these sorts of existing facilities. Pump station, superintendent's shop, same thing. We're just going with what's already here. Now obviously in this case you'll have to get the power out to the field somehow, but it's important to note that we're not replacing power and doing all new power facilities. The only thing I got left is the driving range. Okay. Practice area. Okay, this is hole number 18, and we're stopping here to talk about irrigation real quick. It's either a Rainbird IC 2-wire system or the Toro 2-wire system equivalent. Each brand has a lump sum bid amount in the contract documents and the bid documents, and then underneath that lump sum is a breakdown. It's important to note that it is a lump sum and that the breakdown amounts should equal that lump sum. There's nothing really crazy or fancy about this irrigation system. Every single head is single head control, and it is a total of a little less than 1,500 sprinkler heads. And there are no controllers except for the few Toro Smart Hubs you would see on the plan. The Rainbird IC system, it has no field controllers, just the 2-wire. And the wire itself, whether it's Rainbird or Toro, will be maxi wire. This is an existing practice area on the right side of the driving range tee that is no longer really in use much for practice. The idea here is to flatten this area with a dozer and turn it into a turf nursery and irrigate it. It's also the area in which a new weather station is going to be located. This is we're standing on number 1 Pro Tee right now. That's a good look at the golf course, how beautiful it is here. And then this area here, this is the starter shed and the clubhouse area. And the important thing to understand here is there's a lot of existing concrete that is going to remain, and the asphalt is to be taken up and replaced with new concrete. It's all on the plan. Accurate CAD quantities are on the plan, although all concrete quantities. It's up to the contractor to come up with their final number. The quantities you see on the plan are from a CAD program. And nothing too fancy here, just standard 5-inch thick cart path, 3,500 PSI concrete with curbing, and these are the tie-ins that you'd be making.